fraternity, and forming a platform for all the knowledge seekers to share their ideas in this forum. So with this, I would like to begin the session. And I would like to begin the session based on the survey which is given by ISHE, that is All India Survey on Higher Education. So the takeaways of this program would be 6. One is understanding the higher education pedagogy. The second one is role of faculty in the 21st century. Third would be principles of teaching and learning. And fourth is learning theories. There are different theories. According to the different theory, what would be your style? And through the exercise, a small exercise, there is an exercise, there is a case study. And also there is something which is very interesting for all of us to take away for this program. Last is OBE and COs and LOs, that is course outcomes and learning outcomes. Okay. So with this, I would like to start the session where India has one of the largest higher education systems globally. So the focus, if you see, it is shifting from expansion to quality and innovation, where it is aligned with NEP 2020 reforms. We are all aware of this. So overall, the total number of the institutions, if you see, universities, 1,168, colleges, affiliated, 45,473, and standalone institution is 12,002. I just also would like to give you the statistics based on the institution distribution, which is nearly, if you see, the colleges are very high and the standalone institutions are also a little more higher compared to the universities. And the discipline-wise enrollment, if we are looking at it, it is arts, which is very high, science about 15%, and commerce also near to 15%. The student enrollment is about 4.33, crores. And modern higher education in India is undergoing a significant transformation, driven by the need for quality, inclusivity, and global competitiveness, guided largely by the reforms such as the National Education Policy 2020. India today hosts one of the largest higher education ecosystems globally, with the data from all the All India Survey on Higher Education, as I told Ashi, indicating over 4.33 crore students enrolled across more than 1,100 universities and 43,000 colleges, with a steady growth rate of approximately 4.6 annually. So this is, I also have given the gender comparison where male students are very high compared to the female students. 52% are males and 48% are females. So here I have given you the statistics of the growth of universities. 341 new universities since 2015 have cropped up, and women-only universities are also there. And there are technical and professional institutions as well as skill development centers, which has come up recently. In Modi ji's government, there is one particular concept which is called as digital transformation, that is rise of online learning due to the COVID and many other reasons we have brought it up. And the use of LMS, that is learning management systems, platforms have come up very highly, and hybrid pedagogy models we are going to adopt. So this is for the takeaway, today. And what could be the pedagogical shift if we are looking at it? From the teacher-centric learning, we have shifted to student-centric learning, and experiential education is given very high importance because 86 million enrollments will be happening by 2035. This is also as per the research analysis, and there will be a very great, expansion on the infrastructure. A lot of foreign universities are planning to enter India. Already 2-3 have already come. And we are focusing more on the skill-based education rather than a rote learning. And industry collaboration is going to happen where the students will be placed for internships as well as for the projects. So India is moving towards a global education hub. Strong reforms are underway. Focus on quality and inclusivity, very important. What is inclusion? We have to think through. And whether are we looking at it? Because recently also a student, fell down from 5th floor or 6th floor. And because, a professor made a comment. So I really don't want to get into that, but, we have to think on inclusivity, which is very important. And a multidisciplinary approach needs to be, done according to the flexible learning pathways, focusing on the academic bank of credit, which we call it in the short form as ABC. So now the academic bank of credits for students are increasing. So as per that, the job will be provided. Okay. So with this, I would like to quote W.B. Yeats. Education is not the filling of a pail. It is nothing, you're just filling an empty bucket, in water, putting more water. But the lighting of a fire needs to be there. That is what is really required right now. And student-centric learning, as I already, focused on that, shifting focus from the teacher-led instruction to the learner-led environments are going to be highly created. And technology-enabled education, leveraging the LMS, artificial intelligence tools, and virtual labs will be, created for immersive learning. Also, we need to think through and focus on outcome-based education, focusing on the measurable competency-based learning outcomes. And research-driven teaching, directly linking the coursework to real-world research and discovery. Skill development focus, if you see, prioritizing the employability in the 21st century competencies over the rote memory. I'm calling about rote, learning, which means that students are by-hearting and then, without understanding the particular concept, they are reading and, writing it for the exams. This kind of method has to be changed. So the next thing we are going to look at it is the key features of the modern pedagogy. What are the modern pedagogy that we can, adopt for the new age, not Gen Z or, maybe Alpha, generation students? One is the active learning. Students actively engage through discussions. See, their attention span is hardly 10 to 15 minutes, I should say. Hardly 10 minutes. Within the 10 minutes, what you have to do is you have to chunk the work, chunk the discussion, or chunk your lecture methods. Okay, chunk means different portions, small portions you need to give. Like taking the food at one particular time is not, good for the body, nor for the digestion purpose. So we break down into small meals. In the similar way, classroom session also has to be brought up in the small, with small breaks. 10 minutes you teach, 10 minutes you give a lecture, then break it into an activity session. Maybe you can discuss a case study, or you can give them a problem where you can solve the particular problem with different alternatives. So that is why case studies are, supposed to be given rather than passive listening, which is very really required for today's generations. Another one is called as digital pedagogy, integration of LMS platforms. So flipped classrooms. Here, what do you mean by flipped classrooms? Anybody, can you tell? Can you just unmute and tell me what is flipped classrooms? There are so many participants. So I just want, you to be very interactive. So can I see and tell Dr. Aruna, can you tell me what is a flipped classrooms? Ma'am, can you just share your experience on flipped classrooms? Okay, anybody else? So flipped classroom is nothing but a mixture of the regular classroom session along with, Google Classroom, where you will post your assignment in the Google Classroom. So in the class, you will tell, go to that particular, you give a link to them, where for your Google Classroom, and then ask them to go through the assignment and submit the assignment. Let them submit the assignment in the Google platforms. So anything, any combination you can do for curated e-content for flexible access, so that you can see the assignment even at a later stage. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, your information will from any kind of videos or the PPT or something like that. It is
Yes,
assigned,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then students have to prepare, and then
Yes.
the discussion will be taken after the next class.
Great.
Once
Yes,
the
ma'am.
students-
Yes. Absolutely correct. Thank you so much, ma'am. So then we are looking at continuous assessment. Generally, we give something called as a regular assessment, but here we have to focus more on continuous assessment. Even yesterday, my boss was telling, we have to look into continuous assessment, because then only the evaluation can be done. Then only the student's placement will take place. Because, we are looking out for one particular assignment. Say, for example, CIE, that is continuous internal evaluation, is there. So the students are writing the exams, and based on that particular exam, I cannot tell that the student will be placed, yes or no. So for the placement, placement concept, at least we have to look into the continuous assessment. So if a student is specializing in HR, if a student is specializing in finance, if a student is specializing in marketing or logistics or artificial intelligence and data science, we have to look into whether continuously a person is able to understand, learn, and get a very good score in that particular domain, so that I can look out for the placements for that particular domain, which is very important. Because I have been seeing, in the last 24 years, during my course, I have been seeing finance students who are taking up the finance, they don't know the basic concepts of finance, but they are interested in getting a job in finance. That is why they choose a specialization as finance. So this, we need to think through how best we can, motivate the students to, or make them understand what is their strength and what is their weakness, and which line they should be able to take it. So that can happen only through the continuous assessment, as we are the mentors, and so that we can mentor the students. So this is one key feature of the modern pedagogy. The other one is, called as collaborative learning, where, group projects, peer teaching, and team based. This is not only for the students, it is also for the teachers, especially. Team based learning is better for us to build the social and professional skills, because the youngsters today are coming with lot of skills. So we may not be technically sound, so we need to learn from them. That is one, open-mindedness has to be there for us to listen to the youngsters. Another one is called as experiential learning, which is learning by doing through internships, fieldwork, simulations, and industry projects, which we can ask the students to take it up for 1.5 weeks. Maybe nobody can give it an internship for 1.5 weeks, but still you can motivate them to do a offline internship for 1.5 weeks, going to any startup companies, at least trying to identify what is that they could specialize, or what is the learning that they could learn from that particular company. That is one, experiential learning. And the last one could be on inclusive education. So this I can give you a number of examples. Universal design for learning, we call it as UDL, ensures access and equity for diverse learner needs, because we have people coming across from different areas, different regions. So according to that, what could be the universal design we need to think through? This is one particular concern which I am really concerned about. So this is a flipped classroom. I gave an example. It's a pedagogical model that reverses the traditional teaching by delivering an instructional content, often online, pre-recorded lectures. That is also, as Madam was telling, you have recorded lectures or by way of PPT outside the classroom. Take them somewhere, outside, and, give them, say, some team building, training program. And while moving the homework application, give them application-oriented activities, give them application-oriented assessments, and make it more interactive, focusing more on higher order thinking activities into the classroom. So this focuses the student-centered learning, where the class timetable is used for collaborative projects, debates, and teacher-guided problem solving. So the key aspects and examples would be pre-class. Students, will be able to watch, say for example, you give the videos earlier, a little bit early, so that they, watch the video and then come up with, something, very well prepared to answer, or to, have an interaction in the class. Or you could give them a reading material and then ask them to come. You can give a case study and complete the tutorials to gain the foundational knowledge independently. So in the class, what you will be doing as teachers, you will facilitate the activities like in-depth laboratory experiments. Many of you can tell me, Madam, MBA, what laboratory exams? There is something called as business lab. Business lab is where we, give lot of business case studies as a real life examples and ask them to solve it. Recent past, if you would have seen, there are a lot of, right now TCS is going on, right? That is one issue which is going on. Like that, there are many other companies where a lot of problems will be there, including the strikes or, labor standards, maybe the welfare methods, anything, any problem they can take and they can have a discussion based on that. Maybe the products are not moving well in the market, correct? So anything they can take and be very interactive in the class. So examples I have given here is you can use the video platforms like YouTube or Canvas, maybe TEDx Talk. TEDx Talk is a very good thing where you can show them for 15 minutes and then take them for the discussion. So that is also another, good way of adopting one good pedagogy, which you can use it for the class. So if you think I want to give an exercise here for all of you, So you are given a teaching problem. Say, for example, a student is not at all engaged. A low student engagement is being found. I wanted to make you think individually 1 minute and then give me what can be done for this, how to improve his or her student engagement. I just want you to, answer me so that we move on to the how a 21st century faculty can be at this particular point of time. What would be the impact? So we can move on to that. So anybody would like to discuss on this? I'm giving you a teaching problem, a low student engagement. And here, for example, 70% institutions are using LMS very globally, and 45% the courses with online components. 90% faculty are using the digital tools. These are all current statistics which I'm giving you. And universities are learning with the hybrid learning mode. And global edtech market, if you see, it is going for $350 billion. By 2025, 2026, it is already. And total students in higher education worldwide, if you see, it is 220 million. So students report better outcomes with active learning. That is all 87%. So now tell me, how would you increase the lower student engagement in the class? Anybody can unmute and share their opinion with me, your ideas with me. Most welcome. Yes, ma'am. Anybody is there to share the views? Anybody is there to share the views? Otherwise, we can move on. If you want, yes, please. Yeah, you can even post the answers in the chat box. So because of this, what happens when a student is lowly engaged? How will you increase the engagement level? Maybe focusing on his individual statistics on the continuous assessment, and then you can call out the student's name and then ask him a particular question so that you can get back their concentration. That is number one. Number two could be you can call out the name and ask for whether he or she would be liking to present on that particular topic. That is also another one. So different ways are there in where we can focus on the lower student engagement. So what are the different methods? Maybe you can interact in the class, asking the questions. That is one way. Okay. So I have given a case study here, and this engineering college in India. First year student dropout reached 22% in 2024 compared to the national level of 12 to 15%. With the institutional data showing that 68% of the dropouts were linked to financial stress. Okay. And the second one is academic difficulty. And the third problem was low engagement, as we already, we have seen in the exercise. Now, internal analytics further revealed that students with less than 60% of the attendance were 3.5 times more likely to be dropped out, highlighting a strong correlation between the engagement level and the retention level. Now, if you are the teacher in the class, what would you do? What would be your answer? I would like to make the session more interactive, so kindly unmute and please share your experiences, so that it is good for the other college teachers also who are present here, who can understand the methods, what are the different methods or the pedagogy level that they can use. Atyoba Singh, can you please tell us what it is? And there are many others who are there. Please try to, if you want, you can use the chat box also to post your answers. Mr. Ganesh can, Professor Dinesh Kumar, finding out the individual problems. Excellent. Yes, sir. Finding out the individual problems, like, in the counseling session, you can talk to them. Yes, thank you so much. And Dhritiman, anybody who can, tell a few more ideas. Yes. Yes, doctor, please, Dr. Ilanko, yes, sir, please tell me any idea that we can do for this students' lower engagement. Nazia Mohammed, anybody? Anybody can tell. I just want it to be more interactive. So you can just unmute and tell your ideas. Chat box will be difficult for me to read also, actually. So you can share your ideas here. Professor Dinesh Kumar. Sir, please, anything you would like to add upon? because this is a case study which I have given, an autonomous engineering college in India. Okay, so 22% the student dropout is coming. Any point of time, our intake will be, say, for example, 60, students, at least minimum 2 dropouts will be there. What is the reason and what could be, done in order to ensure that we have the full, strength for the class? One is financial stress. Another one is academic difficulty. What are the things that you can do for this? Please let us think through while I'm talking about the key initiatives. Anybody can unmute and talk. Okay. So talking about the key initiatives, NEP 2020, there could be a shift to multidisciplinary, skills, being very flexible, and skill-based curriculum needs to be focused. This is the main aim of NEP 2020. And when we are looking at NIRF rankings, this is being launched to drive competition and quality improvement. Apart from NAC, NBA and all, these are the accreditations generally we go for. Apart from that, NIRF rankings are also there. Okay. So under the Prime Minister, if you see, Disha is 6 crore plus, citizens digitally are trained for literacy. And Prime Minister's e-Vidya is there. One, TV channel per class, 1 to 12, for equitable access is also there, which is also provided. So these are the statistics which I'm trying to give, making you all understand that the strength is really, becoming more and more, strong in the teaching, policy reforms and teaching methods, teaching pedagogies. So how will we, improvise on that? So that is a very thoughtful, note on that. So let us look into what is hybrid learning, for few of us. So like hybrid learning is nothing but combination, seamless mix of interpersonal, classroom and online instructions. Flexibility should be there where students have a greater control over the time, place, path, and pace, which means that, say, for example, if you're putting in Google Classroom, the student will have, any time. My son also, takes quite some time. 8:30 he will come and he will tell, no, I will do this particular exercise at 10 o'clock sitting when nobody is there and when I'm not being disturbed by other things. I'm not being diverted, because of other, maybe mobile or TV. So he sits at that particular point of time and takes at his own space. So are you giving the assignments, in such a way, or are you asking the students to do it immediately? So there you can be much more little bit flexible. Okay. And then technology, if you see, which is facilitated through a robust LMS platforms. That is, you can start using Canvas. It's a very beautiful platform, I would say. Once you start using, then you will get to know. And Moodle, and then using the Blackboard is also a very good, method. And efficiency, if you see, it optimizes expensive physical campus resources of high value interactions. I can give you real institutional examples. One is MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where they are giving you the open courseware. That is 2,500 plus free courses are there, which is accessed by 3 million people across the globe. And IIT Bombay, if you see, they give you a blended BTech programs integrating NPTEL video content. NPTEL video content and all, if you see, it is very, anybody can, just register for that. It is free of cost, I should say, or if at all, if you want a certificate and if you want to attend the exam, then you have to pay a nominal fee of 1,000 rupees, which is very nominal. And University of British Columbia, if you see, they are giving award-winning, hybrid course designs across various disciplines. And Arizona State University, if we are looking into, they are #1 in innovation and offering a fully flexible enrollment, method they are giving. And today's generations, we are into the era of artificial intelligence. So what contributes or what is the contribution of artificial intelligence in higher education? Let us have an idea about that. Okay. So the key AI use cases are, one is AI chatbots and tutors. So Georgia Tech's, if you see, there is something called as Jill Watson. It is an AI tutor. And the bot answers the student queries with 97% accuracy. So do we have that, chatbot? Very soon we will be getting it, where chatbot will answer your questions and human intervention will be little bit lesser compared to the AI chatbots answering. So automated grading will come. Tools like Gradescope, which is used by IITs and all, they automate grading for code and STEM. STEM is, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That is for those kind of students who have taken that particular stream. The tools will be Gradescope. Automated grading will happen. and predictive analytics is going to be used, and personalized learning also is coming, very few, months to come. Very few months to come, we will have personalized learning. So if you're not interested in this kind of learning, okay, if you're not interested in automated learning of, say, for example, aeronautical engineering, okay, you can take, maybe computer science background engineering you can take. Then you can, for MTech, you can take, artificial intelligence or any other particular course. So you can think through, you can think about what is that you can really want. So at this juncture, I also wanted to give you Indian examples. Indian examples, NPTEL, I've already mentioned, which is completely free of cost. You can learn. There are recorded videos which will give us a lot of usage, knowledge, which uses AI-powered search and doubt resolution across thousands of video lectures. Now, very nice thing is, earlier what happens when they used to give for assignments. So when this particular course gives, 8 weeks course or 12 weeks course. In the 8-week course or the 12-week course, they also give us the assignments. So you have to pass the exam as well as you have to clear all the assignments. So assignments 25% you should have cleared, and the exam you should get 75%. Out of 75, what would be the score? Above 40 is the pass mark. So both put together, you have to pass, then you can get a certificate. Okay, that is how the NPTEL works. And the AI they have used AI in such a way that you cannot do any cut, copy, paste work here afterwards. Earlier, people used to cut, copy, paste the assignment, put it in Google, search for the answer and give it. Now that is also not possible. Okay, that has been disabled. So it is really, because we need to learn. Human beings need to, be more brighter. We should have the capacity to use the AI. AI should not use us. We should be using AI. So that is how, the system, functions. So Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, if you see, they are developing AI tools for assisting the complex research mentoring and data analysis. And one example I would like to give, Amity University also, they have deployed AI chatbot called as EMI. And EMI handles thousands of student, support queries. Whatever queries that has been posted, immediately it gives you the answer. Please, check for this. You can, maybe it could be attendance, shortage, any kind of problem, it immediately addresses. So that is also one way where you can tell your boss, you can tell your seniors, you can tell your supervisors that, these kind of, infrastructure is really required for us to proceed into and develop your knowledge and skills. Okay. One is competency-based education. Example I have given is implemented at Azim Premji University and Ambedkar University, also Delhi, with rubric-based assessment. It is all rubrics. You have that, assessment, whether it is, as per the Bloom's taxonomy, what you're doing, L3 or L4. So many teachers themselves don't understand what is L3 and L4. L3 is, analyze. L4 is a little more advanced compared to L3. Now, when you're framing the question, you should think through whether the student will be able to put an analysis application, whether they can apply that particular thing, or say, give a justification. When you're talking about, say, for example, you're asking, list the advantages and disadvantages of using AI tools. So that question can be asked in such a way that justify the advantages and disadvantages of AI tools. So justification, you can use L4, I mean. So L4 is a question which is, little more creative compared to L3. So how you are framing the question also makes a difference. So moving away from the rote learning, if you see, Ashoka University one, I would like to give you an example. Young India Fellowship focuses entirely on critical writing and seminar style discussion. Okay. And research integration, example is IIT Madras and Indian Institute of Science. They are offering undergraduate opportunity programs for credits. So anybody willing to associate, you can sign even an MOU. I'm not so sure about it, but you can ask them for, signing an MOU, because one particular institute with another particular institute, we have the student exchange program as well as the faculty exchange program. So during that time, you can ask for the signing that MOU, and maybe you can take up their programs. That is one particular way. Then we have something called as a flexible curriculum, allowing the students to choose minors and interdisciplinary majors. This we have even in our college. So we allow, one is the major and the minor. So minor, they are given lot of choices, from yoga class to, cooking or anything it could be. So they have to use something so that it adds value for their particular course. Or ethics and corporate governance could be, one of the course which is really required for students today, because how to use the ethical practices, especially, in the curriculum and, in the teaching method, or in the students, in the students group, how it can be implemented, that can be thought through. Okay. BITS Pilani, if you see, they are giving dual degree system, which allows the engineers also to master the economics or physics. We are also giving economics or physics, for our students. So you can also think through whether you are able to, give that. So what is the difference between the traditional and modern pedagogy if we are looking at it? I have just given some basic, differences. One is the role of a teacher. Earlier, it was, basically authority and information provider, but now it is more of a mentor. It is more of a facilitator. Role of a student was a passive listener. Whatever we said, yes, miss, or yes, ma'am. But now that is not the case. So why it can't be like this? Why it can be like this? So active participant, and they are becoming co-creator. Along with them, I have published patents along with students. 9 patents I have published. Out of that, 7 patents I have done with students. So I motivate the student. I'm not expecting anything from them. I come out with an invention and then share it with them and make them work how it can be. So they come with additional inputs, and then I make them as co-creator or co-partner, and then we give it for publication, patent publication, which is really easy actually, because people tell that in MBA it is very difficult, ma'am, coming out with patent publication, but it is possible. Okay. Then assessment, if you see earlier it was summative, now it is continuous. Only the end term we, try to, measure the assessment, but now it is continuous, it is formative. And every now and then we are looking out whether the student can improvise, whether the student can, be very regular, whether the student can focus on something which is really useful for their career path. So all these things comes to our mind. Okay. And the next one is curriculum. Earlier it was very rigid. Now it is flexible. And learning space, if you see, physical classroom only. Now it is a hybrid, both physical and virtual. And the primary focus, if we are looking into, it is content delivery and memorization. But now that is not there. No more rote learning. It is based on skill and development, competency development. Okay. So I think I have explained this flipped classroom, case method, and problem-based and project-based. Any doubts on this, you can please ask. You can unmute and ask now also. And moving on to the second takeaway, it is the role of the faculty in the 21st century. So here, what is the biggest role? What, roles and responsibility that I have? Digital divide, when I'm talking about 40% of the rural students lack reliable internet. This is as per one of the survey. Solution is, we have given already PM's, method, that is e-Vidya is there, BharatNet is there. Offline first LMS, learning management systems we are providing. That is one. So teachers must learn. There is recently I saw one reel. I don't know whether to share it in this platform, but the teacher is finding very difficult to pronounce, spell out a particular month. And she's been paid such. So I really don't know, because teachers needs to be, a lot of FDPs are required for the teachers when you're talking about digital platforms. They need to be updated in order that they learn and then they make the students learn. Really, that is really required. And smart classrooms cost around, so 5 to 15%, 15 lakhs per room to set up. So this is, where RUSA is funding. RUSA is a big funding agency, like UGC also. They fund AICTE and all. They fund the projects. So CSR partnerships is also available with the tech companies. So you can think through, faculty members, really I'm asking you to apply for the research, projects. Some of the projects are all very much appreciated and very much, given forth, and people give money for that actually. So you can conduct that FDP based on the money which you are getting, financially assisted, programs. You can think through that. Assessment reform is another one, moving away from exam centric to competency based, assessment. And only 30% of the Indian faculty are trained. This is what is I wanted to, share with you. A very sad tale it is. Only 30% of the Indian faculty are trained in modern pedagogy methods. So looking into, Swayam portal, book online, that is massive online courses. Please let us update ourselves. Otherwise, we'll be really lost. I'm telling you. People today are bringing a lot of new things, and totally we will be lost unless if we are going to update our skills. And AI also teaches something on ethics and integrity. Say, for example, if you're using Chat GPT, definitely please don't misuse using it for preparing your question paper, or maybe, using for research. You can take the help, but, again, it is very easy and simple to frame the sentences in your own language. So try to use other languages so that control C, control V can be eliminated, and academic dishonesty, should not be there, which is concerningly, which is rising like anything. There are a lot of academics which has come up, in this, which, is looking towards the research, because they will be writing the research articles for you. Please don't get into that, because it is not reliable also. So you can write the article, maybe you can get it published through some other source. That is also possible. Because nowadays, if you see Q1, Q2, and Q3, they are all publishing, I'm receiving regular emails from them asking that they are in direct touch with me, telling that if you want, you write the article, I will publish, in Scopus. So it is a direct, without any agent, without any middleman. I can easily, just pay only the APC charges. Your article can be easily published in Scopus. It is just a matter of 20 minutes or 30 minutes sitting in one particular position and, trying to concentrate on what could be the different problems. Even the conceptual papers are also accepted. It is not that you have to do a particular experiment. I have published, last 3-4 papers of mine are very conceptual, and very happy to share in this platform. 2 of my articles are published in Springer. It's a very recent one. I would like to share that with you, because it is not that, difficult. That's what I wanted to show you. I'm just showing you the one which is published in, a novel real-time posture monitoring. How you will sit. You will sit like this, which is, giving you a back pain. Regular day-to-day problems you can take. This is one. And the other one is privacy preserving federated learning protocol for secure analytics. This is also a very, technical one, but you can still focus your attention on bringing about lot of, technical aspects, into your theoretical learning. Maybe, what if you're doing in literature, you can think of, any mathematical model that can be applied. It really can be applied in order to, measure the, criteria, measure the parameter. So you can write, literally you can write. God has given you all those skills. Only thing we need to identify, and we need some time. Okay. So any Saturdays, if you all are free, you can think about it. Some of the professors might have Saturday half a day, but for us it is alternate Saturdays or holidays. So 1 and 3 is holidays. So that 1 and 3 I spend purely for research. Okay. So another one is, the role of faculty is the language barrier, deficit of quality content in regional Indian languages. That is also there. So for that, we have a digital platform called as Sharp. Yes. Any doubts? Any doubts so far? IIT courses also is, happening in Hindi. So teaching has evolved from knowledge delivery to knowledge facilitation. So from being a sage, I have moved on to the stage, guiding, being as a facilitator, as a mentor, we are coming forward, rather than, coming with the sole knowledge, providing encouragement, in the critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration is going to happen. And I'm basically focused on activity-based learning. Please give activity-based learning for the students, so that classroom, sessions are very interactive. You might tell, in finance, what activity can I give, ma'am? In finance, you have the balance sheets. Take the example of Unilever, its balance sheet. Take the example of IBM. Take the best example of Accenture. There are a lot of things, analyze the simple ratio, and then tell them this is how it is. Or pick up an advertisement, show them the advertisement. I can show you here one particular, example as a video here. I want everybody to focus on this. This is not only for the comedy purpose, it is, or the humorous, thought which I want to think through, but it is also where you can think about it, whether you all are adopting this. So this is one example which I could give where the students don't even understand what we are trying to tell. The professor is writing on the board, which is not even understandable for the students. So this kind of learning may not be, very, useful for the students. So we need to think through what are the different pedagogies that we need to adopt in order to ensure good learning. So this, is an example. I'm just giving an example of the teacher. So what kind or what we need to or how we need to be in the classroom, gives us a very long thought process. So we need to think through how best we can be a good teacher in the class or effective teacher in the class for that matter. So the skills which is required for the teacher for the 21st century teachers are: one is the digital literacy, another one is the communication skills, another one is the emotional intelligence, adaptability, critical thinking. For us, this kind of thought, say for example, critical thinking, when I'm talking, trying to have aptitude or test small aptitudes, can be taught in the class just to get the attention of the students, just to tell them, say for example, you're placing the oranges 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you have to remove only one orange from the fourth or from anywhere of the thing, so that the numbers would change from 1, 2, 3, 4, how it can be arranged. Simple question can be asked to them, so that makes the students think. So and then we need to have the collaborative skills. So conclusion for the teachers alone, if you see, teachers are the nation builders in the modern era. We all are aware of that. And the key drivers are the of today's, methodologies or today's, the wanting is, we want a knowledge economy. We want people to have the skill development, and which is very essential for completing the NEP 2020 goals. So for the faculty, what happens? He needs to adopt a flipped classroom, as I already mentioned, models in the core courses. And for institutions, if you see, they have to invest in smart classrooms and market spaces, where they can, stabilize. Another one for the faculty, if you see, integrate the AI tools ethically into the teaching. So ethically, how you can introduce the AI tools, we need to think through, and design the courses also, which is measurable for OBE outcomes, outcome-based education. When I'm talking about, use collaborative platforms. Collaborative platforms, Miro is there, Padlet is there, Google Workspace is there. Please try to use as much as possible and enroll in Swayam, as I already told you, and publish an open educational resources. Start publication along with your students. Do not think that our ego should take over our place. So let us adopt. Any favorable students will be there. We can even sit with them and discuss, and then get our papers published. And for the institutions, if you see, implement the learning analytics dashboards. So this is all coming under the extra infrastructure which the college or the university must think through. And future of higher education pedagogy, if you see 2025 to 2035, key transformations will be in AI-driven personalized learning, immersive learning through augmented reality and virtual reality, because we are looking augmented reality and virtual reality as a scare, as a fear in our minds. But you have to adopt that and then use it in the classroom, which is really required. And skill-based micro-credentials has to be thought through, and neuroscience, which is very important, informed teaching. Anybody is aware of neuroscience? What is neuroscience? Informed teaching. Breaking down the, because our brain is thinking, so there is a continuous procedure about, say, for example, a particular context. Maybe it could be an advertisement, or it could be, any finance problem, or in, say, for example, in HR, you're talking about recruitment, talent acquisition. So how it is happening? So you break down that particular, talent acquisition methods or approaches into small units, and then give in that, real life examples to the students. Then the, students will really understand with the real life examples. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, Google, is learning this particular, assignment I have to do and I have to submit it. So it makes people think. So that is what is called as a neuroscience informing teaching. So that you need to adopt. It will not come immediately. It will not come overnight. So we have to put it in practice. And blockchain academic credentials are really important for us to improve on our academic experience. We are having 25, 26 years of experience, but still something is lacking. We are lacking in something. So what is that we need to identify and think through that and then try to adopt the future techniques. Anybody would like to say anything at this particular juncture can open. The forum is open for you to share your thoughts. Yes. Okay, let's move on to the example. Okay. So here, AI tutors and adaptive learning is there. So AI tutors, if you see, they provide personalized learning paths. They keep asking you, giving you the content, and then immediately they'll ask you whether you are clear about that content. Examples are Carnegie Learning AI tutors and Khan-Migo. Khan-Migo is one which is given by the Khan Academy. I'm just showing you the example of how a Khan Academy works because I've already gone through this. This is the home page, and they provide, particular certificate, IITM, Pravatra. This is one of the platform where they do the certification courses. And, Khan Academy is one which I wanted to show it to you. Wait. HR Analytics course. This is an online course, but you can think through, Khan Academy. If you just put it as Khan Academy, it will come. Khan Academy, yes. This academy gives you the particular free online courses are there, lessons are there, practice. It is a free registration also. You can think through how best you can learn. And, here the AI tutor is there. Khan-Migo tools are there. All the AI tools are there for you. So as I mentioned here, particularly this one, okay. 1 minute, I will just, So this, I think you're able to see the PPT also. So here, if you see Khan Academic, the AI tutor is Khan-Migo, it is called as. And what could be the different benefits that you all are getting from this Khan Academy is 24/7 learning support is there. And adaptive assessments are there. Data-driven feedback is there. And the statistics, if you see, global artificial intelligence in education, the market is expected to reach $20 billion by 2027. So it is a very huge market which is really coming up, and 47% of the institutions are already using the AI tools. Okay, so let us get ourselves updated, and any doubts you can please ask me here only. So VR, AR, that is virtual reality and the augmented reality immersive classrooms are going to come, where people will be wearing the VR, AR technology, and they will be typing in the virtual labs will be there where simulations will be happening. And this is happening in the medical, field, medical simulations. If you see, the professor will be there in Gujarat and the operation will be happening somewhere in Tamil Nadu, where he is able to do the, operations very beautifully. So all these are coming up. So in the teaching field, what are we doing? Anything innovative? Still, the student is sitting there and the teacher is standing and teaching. This is one which is not going to. So if this is going to happen continuously, then we will be, we will be really thrown out. So let us, understand that updating our skills is very, very important, especially on the statistics. I would like to focus. Again, 70% students report better retention through immersive learning. Immersive learning means different varieties of learning which we are trying to give them. Digital academic certificates are stored securely. Benefits are it eliminates the fake certificates, easy verification can happen, and portable credentials are happening. Statistics, if you see, 30% universities are expected to adopt blockchain credentials by 2030 and reduces the verification cost by 50%. So this is all going to come, or some of them are already in practice. So please be aware what is happening and how you can overcome. I also want to give you the example for neuroscience. Already I've given, but still I want to touch upon. It is brain-based learning approach. The focus will be on, because the attention span of the students are very less. Hardly, 9 to 10 minutes. Immediately the mind will be wandering somewhere. So again, you have to bring them up. So activity-based learning is better. Immediately you give them a problem, immediately you give an example or tell a humorous story, and then bring the attention back and then again continue with the class. So cognitive load management, it's fully, cognitive based, and emotional learning is happening. So if you see that, because as professors, what NEP is telling us, it is a lifelong learning. So it's a lifelong learning with micro credentials. So let us understand that and upskill our, upskill our, value. So key skills which is projected as skills required for 2030 from the teachers. What is required is analytical thinking, AI literacy, creativity, and all this, emotional intelligence I have already told. But still, institutional examples I would like to give. One is Coursera. Coursera Academy is there, which is giving you a lot of free courses where you can get a certificate also. They give you the certificates also. Please get the certificates along with your regular, degrees, whatever you have got along with that, so that blended learning happens, because blended learning improves the performance by 35%. So that, we need to adopt. I wanted to here to understand what are the different principles of the teachers. So one is principle of readiness. One is principle of motivation. Say, for example, you can give the certificates as appreciation for the best presentations to the students to encourage participation that you can give from your own end. Say, for example, you can become OPC, that is also there, one-person company, registering under MSc, MS, medium and micro, small organizations, I believe. So you can get registered and you can have your own certifications. You can have your own, because future, I don't know how it will be, because it's a lifelong learning. So after this, after 60, this is a normal platform. I am going to the college, offline, taking the classes, but I can even take online classes also. So how it is possible, how to keep up your, skills, in a very ready-made, modules for the students, how it can happen. So principle of learner-centered is example. If you see, a teacher is allowing the students to choose the project topics. You choose. I am not going to tell. You choose according to your strength. And principles of reinforcement is, if you see, praising a student for a good answer and giving a bonus mark for innovative ideas. I will always do that. If the presentation is excellent by a student, it is really excellent, I'm giving you 10 out of 10. Then and there I give, so that the others will, okay, fine, already she has got 10, what I need to do and how best I have to give my presentation. That urgency comes to the mind of the students. Okay, that is one. Principles of practice and repetition. Repeated practice improves the mastery, solving multiple numerical problems. This is also problems where we can improve our mind. Okay, here we don't have much time, but I want you to take up this exercise very seriously. I want you to, there are 12 statements. Okay, let us listen carefully. There are 12 statements. Read each statement and try to give, after that, put one statement, put a bracket, and then tell whether you strongly disagree or whether you strongly agree. Strongly disagree is 1, 2 is disagree, and 3 is neutral, 4 is agree, and 5 is strongly agree. Again, I'll repeat. 1 is strongly disagree, 2 is disagree, 3 is neutral, 4 is agree, and 5 is strongly agree. So say, for example, the first 3 statements I'm taking. I learn better with quiz and immediate feedback. This is your own feedback. Okay. You need to understand what is your style. I don't know. Different teachers, different, way of working will be there. Different lifestyles will be there. Different way of going to the class and different way of conducting the classrooms will be there. So which is your style? I want you to find it out. So please give the rating for this. I learn better with quizzes and immediate feedback. I learn with rewards. I give marks for the students. I give grades for the students, which will also motivate me. Okay. And then repetition. The repetition of, I will repeat 2 to 3 times what I'm doing right now. Okay. I will repeat 2 to 3 times, which will help me to learn effectively. Do you agree to that? Do you disagree to that? So please, give marks for 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12. So if this much you can give the marks, I cannot repeat the statement, fully for all the items. So item number 1, 2, 3, if you would have, if you have given, anybody can share. Anybody can share the ratings. For example, 4, 5, and 6. Anybody, can you just unmute and tell me what you have given? I prefer structured explanations and diagrams. I want, so that I will draw the structured, on the board. Say, for example, data flow diagram. I will draw that and then I will explain. I like understanding how things work step by step. I organize the information mentally. With the help of charts and notes, I can, then I can, understand, and it will be easy for me to take the class. Are you a person like that? Or are you a person I learn best through real life examples and cases? I can give you a real life examples, maybe Unilever or any example I can give you and then ask you to connect it with the concept. Are you a person like that? Or do you prefer solving the problems rather than listing? Have you all given the ratings for 1 to 12? Anybody can say yes, ma'am. Then I can go to the next slide. Anybody, can you just unmute and tell me yes, ma'am, so that I can go to the next slide? So this is only the ratings, 1 to 12. So after giving the rating, please go to the next slide. This is 1, 2, 3. If you have rated yourself, then it means that you are coming, the theory which you are using is behaviorism theory. These are all supposed to be called as learning theories. You are using behaviorism theory, where the teaching suggestion, if you see, you can use you're very good in using the quizzes and drills. If you have rated very high in 4 to 6, so actually rating, what is a higher rating is 1, 2, 3. If you see, 15 is a higher rating. 5 is, if you see here, I'll show you. If you see here, 5 is strongly agree. If you are agreeing very strongly, and 5 3s are 15. Okay. So 15 is the highest one. Which is your style, preferred style? You can find it out based on whether it is A or B or C or D. If it is A, it is a behaviorism style. If it is B, it is cognitism style. If it is C, it is constructivism style. And if it is D, it is connectivism style. So where connectivism means where you people are able to use the digital tools and take it for the classroom discussions. Some people are very good in case studies. Some are good in projects. Some are, very good in diagrams. Some are very good in lectures. So what is the highest score? You can think about it. What you have got according to this calculation, please give the marks and then calculate. And which is your preferred style? That is main predominant, which is called as the dominant style. Out of 15, how much you have scored? If you have scored 30, then that is your predominant style. The next one is maybe the lesser dominant style. Okay. But what you can do is, you can adopt all the 4. You're supposed to adopt all the 4 on an equal basis. Say, for example, if you have got 9, A is 9, 1, 2, 3 statement is 9, B is also 9, C is also somewhere around 9 or 8, and D is also 8 or 9, which means that you are an excellent teacher, where we are applying all the styles. So nothing wrong, nothing is, right here. It is only trying to make you all understand, or make us understand that these are the particular different learning theories are there. We are supposed to use all the learning theories to the class. This is the latest pedagogy, which we can take it. And the last one is outcome-based education. So outcome-based education is a teaching and learning approach where the entire education system is designed around clearly defined outcomes. Okay, so here we will have components of POs, program outcomes and course outcomes, where what the students learn in each subject. And here I have given one particular scenario. Instead of learning marketing concepts theoretically, you can ask them, students should be able to develop and present a marketing strategy. So real life application you can give, maybe a case study analysis. Say, for example, a new product development or product launch strategy. You can ask them to come and, say, for example, this is a wallet. Ask them to introduce this wallet and let me purchase it. What are the special features of this wallet? You can ask them. So this is all, including in the OB, outcome-based education. So the importance of outcome-based education is 20 to 30%. You can see the improvement in employability skills, which has already been found as per the statistics. And the last one, which I wanted to conclude is, India is moving fast on foreign university entry. So global access to get cheaper. This is as per the Times of India, the news, just I think day before yesterday it was released by 60% education secretary. So India is fast tracking the entry of foreign universities under National Education Policy 2020. So we will be totally lost unless and until if we are updating our skills. So that's for the day. Thanks for your patience and thank you for understanding the concepts. Any doubts, now you can, the session is open for question answers. Thank you. Thank you one and all.